Yesterday, a post was put up at the Freedom from Nicotine board from a new member who had written that he had now broken. He was on his 22nd day without smoking, so he broke the habit. That he read that after 21 days you break the habit of smoking. There's two flaws with this concept. The first one is we're not dealing with simply a habit when we're talking about smoking. We're talking about a drug addiction. The symptoms that people most fear initially, what causes many people to not even start to quit smoking, or people who are in their first or second day and experiencing really strong physical symptoms to throw away those quits, is because not because of habits being broken, it's because they're detoxifying from nicotine and they're in a true drug withdrawal state. That state could go on for the peak state for 72 hours. For some people it's 1 day, some it's 2, some it's 3. But it's not 21 days. This is not physical reactions happening because habits are being broken. The other flaw in there is the idea that somehow you're going to break your whole association with smoking in 21 days. That's not going to happen. You're going to break a lot of associations with smoking. The events that you do every single day, the cigarettes that you lit up at the exact same time with the exact same people doing the exact same activities, you used to do it every single day. Yeah, in 21 days you'll break those associations. It probably won't take you 21 days. You'll probably break a whole bunch of them during the withdrawal period. And some people in 4 or 5 or 6 days, they're going to break all the day-to-day routines that they did all the time. But you don't break all your routines in 21 days. You don't experience all routines in 21 days. There's some routines that only happen once a year at specific times of the year. If you used to smoke every other time since you took up smoking while watching fireworks on the 4th of July, this is January 11th. The 4th of July didn't happen within the last 21 days. If every other time on the 4th of July you smoked while you watched fireworks, you're not going to break that association for months now, for months. It's not that you're going to be having thoughts for cigarettes every day because the 4th of July is happening months from now. That's not the issue. But when you first experience it, you're going to want a cigarette. That's what you do. You haven't learned how to mow the lawn without a cigarette. You may have learned to shovel snow, but you didn't learn to mow the lawn. You didn't learn to rake the leaves. These were things that you used to have timed breaks in. You'd get to a certain section, you have to stop to smoke a cigarette to take your break. Well, the first time you go to mow the lawn or rake the leaves and you get to that point, you're going to want a cigarette. It's an association that you didn't break yet. You didn't break things that are not even annual events. If every other time you were dealing with the birth of a child, yours or somebody else's, and you either had a cigar with during these events or you would go out and smoke cigarettes when you can get out, you haven't learned to deal with this yet. The odds are you have not learned to deal with going to a funeral yet, to going to a wedding yet, to dealing with an anniversary yet, to deal with all the family members' birthdays yet. These are all routines that you did for years and years, always with cigarettes somehow incorporating in to a big degree or a little degree, but until you face the event, you don't break the association. So just by waking up on your 22nd day and thinking like, oh, it's all over, I shouldn't think about cigarettes anymore, or getting down on yourself if you do get a thought, because, oh, I broke my habit already, why am I still having thoughts? Because you haven't broke the associations yet. The trick in quitting smoking is living without your cigarettes, learning how to do all the things you did before. And you do not learn how to do these things simply by just not smoking. It's by doing the events without smoking. And the more things you do, the more confident you'll start to become, like, oh, I can do this too, and I can do this too, because the bottom line, everything you did as a smoker, everything you can do as a former smoker, it's showing yourself how. By experiencing the event, getting the thought for a cigarette, very likely during the first time, but not giving into the thought. Then the next time you experience the event, it may not trigger at all, it'll be more minor. And after a few times, that specific kind of event won't even be an association anymore. You'll be a former smoker when you experience that, without thoughts for cigarettes. What you want to do is be prepared that new events can trigger thoughts, But the way you get through those thoughts is you pull your ammunition back up. You try to remember why you initially quit to start with. You try to focus on the benefits you've had since you quit smoking. You see cigarettes in their entirety. Don't tell yourself that you don't want one when it's happening. You do want one. But you don't want the others that go with it. You don't want the problems that go with the others. The more you do that, whenever facing any new event, the faster you'll squelch that particular urge, but also the more you prepare yourself for other thoughts that do pop up because of events. And realizing, I got through that other one, I'll get through this one too. Then after a while, you won't think about cigarettes at all. The way to become a long-term former smoker and maintain and sustain all the benefits is understanding that events will trigger the response. You can squelch the response by reinforcing your reasons for having quit smoking to start with, and then realizing that it was a good decision, that you still want to continue. And the way you continue to sustain a smoke-free life is simply to stick to a personal commitment to never take another puff.